This investigation was on effect of the addition of plant galactagogues in the dairy cows' rations on the milk yield and composition, carried out by Dr. Edyta K. Vasilev. From University of Life Sciences in Lublin, Institute of Animal Nutrition and Bromatology, 13 Akademika Street, 20-950 Lublin, Poland.
Pleased to present you the effect of our preliminary study on effect of the addition of plant galactagogues in the dairy cows' diets on milk yield and composition. The study is conducted by my department as well as the Department of Animal Nutrition and Nutritional Diseases of the Burdur Ahmet Akif Mersoy University in Burdur, Turkey. So this is a result of our study. As we know, higher nutritional awareness of consumers requires a response from producers of animal origin food products that includes the production of milk and the dairy industry. And the expectations are varied as the producers want to produce high amounts of milk, of course, while simultaneously maintaining a good quality of the product. Therefore, the nutrition of animals, the nutrition of ruminants nowadays is challenged to support the lactogenesis process in dairy cows on a higher level. It's not only enough to manipulate the basic composition of the diet, but we are searching the components that can actually activate some pathways responsible for lactogenesis process. And there come galactagogues, which are various types of compounds that exhibit lactogenic effect. These might include synthetic components, of course, like dopamine antagonists or different hormones, but there are also some natural compounds that can increase the process of lactogenesis. These might be components of the diet, like barley malt, that have some properties increasing milk production, as well as a variety of different herbs. And these compounds act on milk secretion, increase milk yield. They also modify milk composition, including protein content and profile of amino acids, building the proteins in milk. They can affect also the process of biohydrogenation in the rumen with the possibility to change the profile of microbiota that is established in the rumen of ruminant animals. It can also affect the fat content of milk and the fatty acid profile through this process of biohydrogenation, and actually it can affect oxidative stability of the fat. And milk production, lactogenesis in mammals, which is a very complex neuroendocrine, neurophysiological, involves the interaction of physical and other even emotional factors and the action of many hormones, mainly prolactin. And galactagogues are ingredients that help actually initiate and maintain the increased adequate milk production. In dairy cows, we face the situation when there's high production of milk at the very beginning of lactation period, but the expectation and the production and the needs of organism are not evenly covered by the intake of the diet. So the proposed mechanism of action of substances of herbal origin involves such processes as blocking dopamine receptors, as a consequence of which the synthesis and secretion of prolactin by the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland is increased. And increasing protein through stimulation of adenohypophysis or inhibition of prolactin inhibiting hormone is one of the proposed mechanisms of action of most of plant galactagogues. However, other mechanisms can occur as well. In herbal galactagogue, chemical components play a role in providing this lactogenic effect, and it also supposed to stimulate the proliferation of cells of the mammary gland so that milk production can be more efficient. Such a component might be, for example, fenugreek. Such effect might have milk thistle, anise seeds, cumin, and many others. So of particular research of interest are those compounds of natural origin that we can include into the diet of animals. And for this study, we have chosen two of most commonly mentioned plants, fenugreek seeds and milk thistle seeds, which are known to have lactogenic effect on the mammary gland, and we have analyzed as a preliminary result its effect on the composition and yield of milk. In this presentation, we will only or mainly focus on the quality of the milk fat. Okay, so the experiment was conducted on the dairy cows. The population number was 50. We have chosen them based on the analogs, based on age, milk yield, and stage of lactation, and divided them to 10 groups. The cows were within the period of 70 up to 100 days of lactation. And the whole population received the same basal diet, and additional supplementation was added to 4 of experimental groups. Of course, there was a control group fed only basal diet without any supplementation. And the dosage of the seeds that we have chosen was 150 grams and 300 grams. And the dose was chosen based on our previous observation with different herbs. And the experiment lasted 6 weeks, but the first 2 weeks was the period when the animals were actually adjusting to the change of the diet, as we want to maintain the microbiota of the rumen on the same stable level. So the strict period of experimentation or observation was only 4 weeks. During the experiment, we have analyzed such elements like feed intake of the ration. We have analyzed its composition, of course, the composition of fatty acids contained. General health of animals was also taken into account. Milk yield and milk composition were evaluated weekly, and analyses of fatty acid profile, which will be presented in a second, were carried out by gas chromatography at our laboratory, and all results were analyzed using statistical software. So, as I have mentioned at the very beginning, one of the crucial points or crucial aims for the producers of milk is the yield, the milk production amount. And the milk yield of all cows during the experiment was actually at a very good high level. In the control group, the average milk yield decreased during the observation period by circa about 3.5 liter. But in the group supplemented with milk thistle, we have seen a smaller decrease, which seems to protect the lactation process from diminishing. And it was smaller in the group which received higher amounts of milk thistle than in the group supplemented with the lower dose, 150 grams. which kept the yield at the constant level throughout the observation. Whereas an increase in milk yield was observed in both experimental groups supplemented with fenugreek seeds. And the impact was really high, statistically high. It was noted that the different dynamics in groups supplemented with different doses was changing, and in the group supplemented with the higher dose of fenugreek seeds, milk yield increased very quickly, but began to decline, while in the group supplemented with the lower dose, the increase of milk production was slow but persisted until the end of observation and was higher compared to the group receiving higher dose. And my milk fat content changes were affected significantly by the addition of experimental additives. We see a statistically significant increase in milk fat content in the group receiving higher amounts of the supplements. This was affected, of course, by the basic composition of the seeds, which are quite high in the fat themselves. And the increase in this parameter was about 1.75%. So this is when we think about the fat content in milk is a quite high number. Such a large increase in fat levels in the especially group receiving higher dose of milk thistle is due to the fact that milk thistle is a plant that contains a large amount of fat. It's circa about 24 up to 30% of fat in the seeds itself, and full fat seeds were fed to the animals. In the group receiving lower dose of milk thistle, 150 grams, there was also an increase in the fat content, but there were no statistically significant differences compared to the control group. Fenugreek supplementation, regardless of the dose, significantly increased the level of milk in the milk of the experimental groups, with the maximum content we have noted in individual animal was 5.09%, so it's a really high number. Termination of supplementation of fenugreek influenced a drastic decrease of fat content. So we see a strict and linear connection with the dose of fenugreek and the fat content. Because we wanted to check how the diet affects the fatty acid profile, we have also done analysis of basic components of the diets, as well as the seeds that we were supplying to the animals. And as we can see, both experimental additives, fenugreek seeds and milk thistle seeds, contained quite high amounts of polyunsaturated fatty acids. In the table, I can now see that there was some results covering themselves. So in the table, we can see the composition of the milk before the supplementation. We have not noticed any differences between the composition of the milk of each group. The only differences we have found were in the statistically significant differences were found in the antecanic acid, myristhenic acid, and stearic acid. So every of these acids are saturated fatty acids. After 4 weeks of supplementation, we have seen interesting changes occurring in the composition of milk fat, especially in the groups supplemented with the fenugreek seeds and milk thistle. There was significantly more total saturated fatty acids in the milk of control cows than in the groups receiving experimental additives. So we could actually effectively change the composition of the fat of the milk. So there was the proportion of the unsaturated fatty acids total, so monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids, were affected significantly by the addition of the experimental additives, with the highest amounts when milk thistle seeds were supplemented, and we see a high increase of the share of fatty acids of N3 group, which is particularly important from the point of view of human nutrition. So this is proving that we can actually affect the nutritional and functional values of the milk. So, summing up, the analysis of the composition of fatty acids profile of milk confirm there is possibility of nutritional modification of the composition of the milk fat. They indicate a positive effect of fenugreek and milk thistle on the processes of lactogenesis. The obtained results, which we see for now, is that the addition of milk thistle seeds to the diet had a positive effect on the milk yield and milk composition, depending on the dose. Indeed, milk thistle seeds introduced into the ration of dairy cows at a higher dose, 300 grams a head, influence a significant increase in fat content while reducing lactose content, while the milk of control cows contained significantly more total saturated fatty acids, the content of which was 6 percentage points higher than the milk of cows receiving fenugreek and nearly 12 percentage points higher compared to milk receiving milk thistle. And there was a significant increase in the proportion of unsaturated fatty acids in the milk fat, especially from the group of polyunsaturated fatty acids, regardless of the dose of the supplement applied to the both fenugreek seeds and milk thistle seeds. The proportion of palmitoleic, eleidic, cisvaxenic, linoleic, alpha-linolenic, gamma-linolenic, and cervonic, so DHA fatty acid increased compared to the milk of the control group. So the addition of fenugreek seeds and spotted thistle to the ration of cows improved the health-promoting properties of milk fat. The higher addition of fenugreek and milk thistle seeds produced the best milk with the best fatty acid profile. So that's the preliminary results that we see that we can actually measure for now. Now we are trying to analyze what caused the changes on transcriptomic level. So the further steps of the study will be to analyze what is going on in the mammary gland itself, what kind of processes are activated. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Many thanks for your nice presentation and for your nice research work. I mean, this is applied work on milk production in animals. So I have some questions. The first one is that when we are working in such research plan, always our concern is that if we have or if we get, or we benefit from a positive result, in that case, what we have for side effects. Did you examine or observe any side effects regarding the research significance? I mean, increasing the milk level in the animals at the same time. Is there or are there any side effects?
Of course. We have the study was designed to actually observe all health symptoms in animals. So we have also taken blood samples simultaneously with milk, and we have done observation on rumen activity, and both of the herbs, fenugreek as well as milk thistle, except the galactogogic or lactopoietic activity, they also act as hepatoprotectants for the animals. And in dairy cows, we have problems at the very beginning of lactation with many problems at the hepatic level. So we have actually seen positive effect of the protective action of those herbs to the dairy cows, transition dairy cows diets. And the only thing that was interesting for us was actually something what farmers noticed, that when they were feeding fenugreek seeds, they noticed a very specific smell in the building. So we were now doing digestibility study as well, how the diet is digested, and we have noticed that actually there might be some changes. Fenugreek contains saponins, and saponins might affect the rumen activity, and rumen is responsible for everything. After so the only thing that was really interesting and for us is what was the cause of the smell in the building. But we didn't see any negative effect of supplementing of the diet of the seeds to the diets to the dairy cows.
Okay. Thank you very much.